Yes. So we are here to learn and implement the connection of Azure Postgres database with our Spring Boot application. So in our last session, we have created Postgres database in cloud. Eventually, we were not able to connect to our local computer. So because we are supposed to have the Postgres PG admin, which is the database management tool of Postgres, that should be installed in your system. Then only you will be able to connect to the database. So which is over here. So Azure Spring is something that we have created together, and then for testing purpose, I created this in using a different mechanism, a different. Okay. So both the ways I'm going to show you how you can create and get the connection established to your pgadmin tool. Okay. So here we go. I have Postgres installed. It was not installed last time. So here I go. I'm opening up the pgadmin. So this is a this is going to give you a UI based view of your database. Okay. So I have Postgres running in the backend, and this pgadmin tool will help me to access the database, fire queries, write SQL queries, and it will help me to do a lot of things from the UI. So let it get started in the background. So meanwhile, I'm gonna quickly go and tell you one of the setting which you have to do in order to connect to your current machine. That is if I this is a cloud database and I want to connect to my laptop, or from my laptop if I want to access it. So in last session we access the database with the help of command prompt. Okay, so that is through this terminal only, so which is in the cloud itself. So that is something it has not came outside. So today's goal is to get inside it. So for that, so you already know, right? So this is what my server ka name. So I need it in order to access the database. This is what my server ka login name or username basically. Database admin user. Now I have the password with me. I'm going to use server name, server admin, and the password are the three things that I need, and that will help me to connect to the Postgres. That's it. So that is only it we need. But there is one more setting that you have to do. So this is a virtual. So this particular database is running in some virtual machine having this particular configuration. We can modify it at the time of creation, but as of now we are not going to do anything to that. Okay, so here we have already seen the options what exactly it is. So in settings we are going to go to the networking tab basically, and here I'm supposed to allow the access publicly, that we have already done. Secondly, you have to add my IP address. So in firewall rules, in firewall rules you have to add your current IP address. So how to check what is my current IP address? So you can just go to the internet and check what is my IP. So this is your public IP, what is my IP, and it will give you your current IP address. So my IP address is this as of now. So I can so it will change as soon as I restart the system and I'll connect next day. So it keeps on changing. It's dynamic IP address assigned by the router. So basically that IP address I have added. So in last session my IP address was this. In today's session my IP address is this. Hmm? So if I restart my system, it will be different. So in your case, you just check your IP address and put it over here. So it will automatically detect, actually the browser will automatically detect, and it will give you an option to add this one, current IP address, current client IP address. So just click on this plus button, which is I already clicked. That is when I am able to see it over here. So click on it, will add over here, and then you have to save the save these settings. Then only these settings will take place. Okay. Once you're saved, kindly go back to the overview and come back to the networking again, just to make sure that you have applied the settings. It's not like making publicly accessible is not gonna help, but it is not like you are allowing to everybody. So allowing to IP addresses that you are providing in a given range. Hmm? You can also allow to everybody, like any IP address, like from 0002 to 255. Any IP address if you want to, but it will show you, if you click, it will show you that this is not recommended. So it is strongly recommended to use the public IP address. Yes, so basically I'm not going to do this thing, and I would not recommend you guys to do as well. So this is what something you are supposed to do, add your only IP address. So this is not needed as of now, so I'm deleting my existing one, keeping only one address. Now I can see the save button and updating the connection security settings. It will take some minutes, and then it will automatically update the settings. Okay, once that is done, once you see the message successfully updated, okay, then only go and do the next step that I'm going to show you right now. So I have my Postgres up. So Postgres pgadmin is the toolkit which is going to help me to connect to my Postgres databases. whether running in my local or running in any of the cloud environment. So I'm just putting my Postgres ka password that I given at the time of installation. So here I go. I'm just quickly checking. So this is my Postgres local Azure Spring that I connected yesterday for testing, and then this is second database I created through a different mechanism, not from the way we create it. Okay. So there are multiple ways we can create the database. I'm going to show you that one. Hmm. So firstly, I'm going to show you, this is my Postgres PG admin window. So here you can go and create a new servers, register a server, create a server group. You can do a lot of things. Once your database server is created, so this is Postgres local from my local system. So it is having a password. So this is my local database. So in this local database, there is CRUD APIs, CRUD database, and Postgres database I created by myself, just to make sure that things are working. I tested it and then I made it working. So I have my Spring Boot application as well with me. So this is something I'm going to show you what all settings you need to modify in order to get the things done. In last session, or when we covered the app service, right? So that time we have deployed the same application which was giving this sort of thing onto the cloud. So the same application I'm going to use. So there are some settings that I need to do. So few settings in the POM, and then few settings in application.properties. That's it. Any of the application that you use, you have to add those things, and that's fine. Since we are connecting to the Postgres, I need to add the dependency of Postgres so that the database connection will get established. So this is I'm doing for local as of now. Secondly, since I'm going to use JPA, Java Persistent API, for writing the queries. Basically, for me, I'm not going to write any SQL queries in my code. So this thing is going to do that thing. So anybody who knows JPA, so they know the dependency needs to be. Second. Yes. So these two dependency we newly added. Rest is everything exactly same what it was earlier. So we have these two settings. This is Spring Boot ka basic project having Java version Spring Boot starter, Java 17, starter test, starter data JPA, and Postgres. Yes, that's it. Only four dependencies that I have added in this project, and this is going to help me to connect to my cloud database and execute something, few things basically. So in order to build, I have the Maven plugin set up, which is going to help me to build the app locally in my laptop currently. If I want to push it on the cloud, I have my other plugin, Azure Web App Maven plugin, so which is for deploying the cloud this particular code in the Azure App Service. So that is already there. So we have configured it in our last session of App Service. Okay, here I need to put the name, you know already, right? So WebRG, then Azure, the app name. We're gonna show you how we can go and deploy it over that app. But first, let's run it locally, right? So it is not yet up. I don't know whether it is going to connect to my database, whether I'm going to see the database. I'm not sure. So chalo, let's go and do that first. So in order to connect to the database in my SQL server or PG admin, so what I need to do is I need to register a server. Here I go, and you have to give a name. You can give any name, test, something like this, Azure test or something. Okay, so then in connection window you are supposed to put the host name. So the host name that we have, we need to copy it from there where it is. This is my database. So I'm going in overview again. So this is my host name. I'm just copying it from here. I'm putting it over here. Postgres maintenance database key Postgres. My database username at the time of creating I gave Postgres. So it is going to maintain the same. Only the password is something which I need to put over here, which is I put my password, and rest you keep the SSL mode as preferred. Then SSH tunnel you don't need to modify anything. By default SSH का port is 28. Advanced में कुछ नहीं करना है. Then go to the overview again. The name database का name Azure क्यों किया? Just a second. I'm gonna Azure test ना. I can give any actually whatever I wanted to. Keeping the name in small cases, good practice. You can keep in capital as well, no problem at all. Hmm? Azure test. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to connect to my Azure Spring database. That's it. I give my I kept the settings as it is. Only you need to change 1, 2, and 3. That's it in your case. And then I'm clicking on save button, and this will allow me to connect to the database only if, see, it has connected now. So only if you have added your IP address in the configuration setting. So whatever configuration we did in networking session, if you do that, then only you will be able to access it over here. So once it is there, you can go and check like what all databases you are having. By default, Azure creates three databases for you: Azure Maintenance DB, Azure System DB, and this Postgres. So this learn I created yesterday for testing purpose. Hmm? So now this database is going to have some values from my Spring application. Okay, so these are the database created, and then you can go and play with these things. You can fire queries and you can do a lot of things over here. Okay, in this Postgres database, I'm just quickly, I'm going to create a new database over here. So this is I'm creating in cloud, by the way. Okay, I'm not creating in my local environment. This is cloud database I connected. I quickly going to go and show the properties. So here I go. This is my connections window. I'm showing. See, the username is this, and then host name is this. You can put IP address as well, but I don't have the IP address. The Azure hasn't provided the IP address, so I'm using the server name. So it's plain simple. Okay. So this one sort of connection I have established, so that you can go and access. Now, suppose in my learn database, if I have something, I can go and look at that, right? So there is some schemas, and then in public we are having some tables, and in that table there is a table called a students table, and in this table there must be some data. I tried and tested yesterday, so um, I'm just trying to view all data, all rows. I can fire SQL queries as well, so but I'm showing you the UI based operations, since we are doing it for the very first time. Okay, so it is going to fetch the data from this particular table called a student, and it is going to show me over here. So this is already done. So yesterday I inserted some data using what our Spring application. I created a post request, so which I'm going to create again, of course, in front of you, and then we will be able to see one more record over here, provided your Spring Boot application is working correctly as per the expectation. Okay, so this is one. So now we are moving forward a bit, and then we will see how we can utilize this particular thing. Okay, so there is one more way of creating the database and having the connection in Postgres is through this particular tool window. Hmm? Register cloud instance. So this is another way of creating a cloud database in Azure. So you can go and so you can create in AWS, you can create in I guess this is Postgres cloud. EDB is Postgres maintenance wala company, and then Azure wala Postgres. So I can go and click over here. It will ask me for some tenant ID. Tenant ID is something you can go get from your subscription. है ना. So from here itself you can go and find a tenant ID. टेनेंट फाइंड करो, उसमें आईडी मिल जाएगा. टेनेंट प्रॉपर्टीज, इफ यू क्लिक ऑन दिस यू विल गेट द टेनेंट आईडी. ठीक है. So one account will have one tenant basically. We learned this concept called as tenant directory subscription and क्या Azure Intra. At the time of Azure AD we learned this thing. ठीक है. You can put the Azure tenant ID and then you can authenticate, and then you need to follow the next process. Basically I noted down that process and quickly show you what all things that you need to do in order to connect in this particular way, or in order to create the data in this particular way, create and connect to the database. So basically I'm just quickly showing you an overview, that's it. So let it load, and then we'll take a quick overview. Okay, so you're going to click on register deploy cloud instance, then you're going to click on this Azure Postgres, because we are learning Azure. I could have shown you AWS as well. Then once selected, you click on next. It will ask you for the tenant ID, so you put the tenant ID and then click on this button. So tenant ID is something you will get it from here. So dashboard, go to the um, Azure tenant properties, and then here you can see the tenant IDs. I masked it, the rest of the things, but you can find your tenant ID over here. Then you copy the tenant ID, put it over here, and after putting, click here to authenticate your Microsoft account. At that particular time, so this particular window will create an code for you. This code you are supposed to put in the next pop-up that is going to come. So this pop-up from Microsoft will appear here. You are supposed to copy this particular code. Then on the next page, it will ask you to log in, authenticate basically. So you're allowing Postgres to create something in your cloud. Okay, so for this you need to have Azure CLI installed in your laptop. Hmm? It will ask you for username and password, and then in order to verify whether it is me trying to log in from some different window, it will ask me OTP kind of thing in my email. So once you're done with every authentication successful, you're going to see, are you trying to sign into Microsoft Azure CLI, because Postgres is going to create the resource for you with the help of CLI. Of course the commands will be fired by pgadmin itself. You don't need to worry, but you need to authenticate, like let pgadmin do the things for me. I'm continuing this thing. Once that is done, you have signed into Microsoft CLI platform and you can close the window. Once this is done, on the page of PG admin, you will see this thing like authentication completed successfully. Click on the next button. Like I allowed my Postgres to have the authentication. I'm going next. So here, you see the cloud provider, that is Azure, credential, that is authentication. Third step is instance specification. I want to create this Azure Spring. Then I'm going to create subscription. There is only one I do have. I kept it RG resource group. I can choose location, preference, availability zone card, database ka version. There is a drop down actually, so you can choose from the drop down. Instance, there is again drop downs. You can choose from there. And then IP range. See, this is what you can put over here. Your IP address you are supposed to put, like list of IP address. If you put only your current IP address, my database will be accessible only even if you get my password, username, password, or anything. That database will not be accessed from your machine. That sort of security Azure is providing. Okay, it will only be accessible from my machine, this laptop, not from my other laptop as well. Uska IP address 48 hai. So basically from this laptop only that database will be accessible. If I want to allow another person to access the database, I need to increase the IP range. So that for that we need to learn virtual networking. Separate thread will be covering in upcoming sessions. Okay, then you are supposed to click on next, and then you are supposed to use same again. You admin username, admin ka password, confirm password. Once that is done, you will get the details like review. Same thing which Azure provides, right? So जो यहाँ पे when we do the database, you get a final overview and create. Same thing has been appeared over here, and then once you click on finish, you can see. So this is kind of a cloud database it is trying to create. Hence the icon is like this. Deployment has started, so yet not finished, so it has started. Then in progress, you can check the progress from by clicking on the button, this particular details file icon, and then you can see the progress. क्या क्या बना है? Resource group created, sorry, Azure instance created, address का rule डाल दिया, right? And after that it is going to create the database in next few seconds. It will take at least you can see it is 200 plus seconds, right? So it will take some time, and once you see the message like database completed, that time it is going to show you something like this, and then I can access the database just like this. I'm able to do it right now. So this is UI based view of creating the database. That's something I wanted to showcase, and this is data Azure Spring DB2 I created yesterday. Hmm? Just to showcase you, exactly another way of. So here by default there will be only three, one, two, three. What you can say, database. Here there is no database. I'm going to create one for testing, and then I'll try to show you by connecting to that particular database. Chalo, let's go and do it for this one now. Azure Spring database, which I have created for show demo purpose during this time. Yes, now it's time to connect. So our database is already connected to my PG admin. I can see the data of the database. I can query, I can update, I can delete, I can do a lot of things. Now it's time to get it done with the help of my code. So in my code, what I did, it is very basic, simple. Anybody knows Spring Boot. So in order to in order to connect to the database, I need to pass the database wala URL. Second, I need to pass the username. Third, I need to pass the Postgres. That's it. Username, password. So this is my local database CRUD API which I created for my local database. This is my local CRUD API. This is the database, and here there will be tables automatically created. I don't need to create the tables; it will create automatically. Similarly, this is what I commented actually. So for Postgres, the URL will be quite different. So first, these things will be same. After slash, it will be the URL of the URL of the database. So now that is what I did. So what I did it, I copied the things Azure Spring Postgres. किधर से आया देखो. देखो. Azure Spring Postgres database azure.com, right? So that same thing I copied from there, and then I pasted it over here .com. Then I gave the port number which is 5432, the default port of Postgres. Let me just close this. Yeah, then after that there is slash, and then there is learn. So learn is the database which I created in my Azure Spring. So I'm going to show you the Spring wala only. नया वाला नहीं दिखाते अभी. ठीक है, उसका पासवर्ड मेरे को याद नहीं आ रहा. ठीक है. So Azure Spring, where are you beta? This one Azure, this is the database actually we just created, just connected ना थोड़ी देर पहले. And here in the database I have a database called as learn. If I create a new database and want to establish the next CRUD operations over there, I can create a new database and I'll change the configuration in my Spring application. And after that, uh, pass a query parameter SSL mode is equal to require. So same thing which we have selected at the time of making the connection. Okay. So once this is done and once you put your username and password, you are good to go and you are good to connect to the database. That's it. Now I'm gonna run my Spring Boot app. So this is gonna run in local basically, not on cloud. We'll deploy it on cloud once we are done successful testing with the local environment. So here I go in Spring. I'm running my application. So something which is not people will not be familiar who are from Java Python background. But for Java people, you need to know this particular dashboard and then how application works and so. Okay. So once it is up, so I'll be able to access the application on my localhost 8080. So this is where I'll be able to access the application. Not as of now, I guess it is not started. Hello dot application. Yes, it has started now, so I'll be able to access it over here. So yeah, it is showing white label. It means it's working as of now. I'm putting store as a API, and then I can see hello from Akshay, and there I can see students ka data. So here I go. I'm having only one entry in my database basically. Now this is retained. The data will be retained in this particular case. Earlier, when we created our last application for app service, it was stored in array list. Basically, the I was keeping the data in code itself, not I was not storing it on database. Now this data is in database. I'm quickly going to show you in the database. I can fire the query on this database like using this query tool. I can go and see the data, right click and view. So, but I don't want to do that as of now. So select star from table का नाम क्या था students. Students is the name of table. I'm just executing this query and I can see there is one entry. One ID is one, name is Akshay. Only these two columns we are having. So now if I wanted to put another data into this particular database, so database का connection is this post वाला call and then here देखो I'm pushing the data. नहीं ये वाला नहीं होगा ना अभी करंटली दिस इज नॉट होस्टेड एंड अप एंड रनिंग और यार ठीक है तो लोकल पे हम लोग कर रहे हैं बेसिकली so this is in my local environment so I need to put the API over here so I'm just trying to post and this is 80 student is the API so there are 4 APIs basically in my app quickly going to show you uh, controller is something which I have written students is going to get the all students single student is a post mapping is going to add the data whatever I'm going to pass in put we are having modify the data which I need to pass the data as well as body and then ID as well as body and for deleting I'm just going to pass the ID and then it will delete okay rest if I'm showing internal working I guess let me just quickly show you so I created a repository so wherein it is going to have the delete by ID and then find by ID data save uh, and then yeah so there are multiple things that you can do okay chalo let me add one more student so we have Mahesh over here I'm just putting the ID 2 and just adding Mahesh into the database okay name must be name must start with capital always yeah so ID2 Mahesh is I'm just sending and it will once it got added so yeah it is there Mahesh has been added so I can go and check over here in my local environment with the help of get this is going to get the APIs there are 2 entries and I can also cross check my database whether I'm having one more entry over here in my DB so this DB is now Azure ka so this is not my personal local DB this is Azure ka DB I'm just trying to check and I can see my data is successfully added into my Azure database. Okay. So this is where and it is taking time to fetch the data. Basically, it means the data is there. Now I can go and execute all the other APIs and I'll be able to access the data the way I wanted. And so let me just show you delete one. Edit वाला नहीं करते अभी. ठीक है. I won't delete ID API the student with ID 2. So my Spring Boot application is running on local, but internally it is going to use my cloud database. So this is step number 2 we are right now. So step number 3 is having Spring Boot application on cloud, database is also on cloud and doing everything on cloud. So this is the integration phase where we are. So in last session we learned database. In this session we connected database with our Spring Boot application. And in last session itself we have already connected or deployed our Spring Boot application on cloud. So we deployed separately Spring Boot application, we deployed separately database, and the next step will be connecting both together. Spring Boot ka application in cloud and database in cloud. Okay, so give me a few minutes. First I'll show you demonstration and then we'll go towards deploying the last application. Okay, so this is second person. If I'm trying to delete, here I go, I'm hitting that API, not found. Okay, student with id 2 is not found. Student with id 2 http localhost API number 2, I'm not sure. Not found QI API. Okay, okay. So I pushed it API over here, right? So this is different. The syntax is different, or the URL is different. I'm just trying to change it, and then I can fire. Yeah, student deleted successfully. Now, since student is deleted successfully on my UI, there were two records. I can see there will be only one record, and in my database as well, there were two records. Now, since I deleted from the Postman with the help of API, so data will be moved from the Postgres database as well. So this is cloud Postgres from where data has been deleted successfully. So this is step number two, or level number two in our journey, where we are trying to learn how to deploy applications in cloud. Now this is very plain and simple. I was successfully able to connect to database. I was able to access. I run my local application. Say this app is running over here. So it is in running state, or I debugging state basically. So that is when my application is trying to head to the cloud. Okay, my settings are there. So using same settings, I'm going to push my application on cloud. Okay, so this particular app which I'm having, so I'm going to push this application on cloud. So you already know the steps to push it, or you already know the steps to do it, right? So I'm just opening a command prompt at this particular location where my code is, and then from here I'm going to fire the commands. We did it earlier, just we did like earlier. Okay, so where is the command? I don't remember. Okay, so for that I gave you a very nice tutorial over here which you can follow, and then you can implement the things. ठीक है, पहले बिल्ड करना है लोकली, देन वी आर गोना डू सम थिंग्स ओवर देयर. इंपॉर्टेंट लिंक्स किसका दिया है नहीं पता. डेटाबेस, ठीक है. उसके पहले बिल्ड के पहले डिप्लॉय अजूर ऐप सर्विस सिलेक्ट किया, लोकल मेवन क्लीन पैकेज. हाँ, आई नीड टू फायर दिस कमांड्स फर्स्ट एंड देन इट विल गो एंड वेब आरजी का वगैरह वगैरह सब कुछ चेंज करें. सो आई एम हैविंग वन ओनली वन ऐप सर्विस आई गेस. किधर है मेरा ऐप सर्विस? जस्ट अ सेकेंड. ऐप सर्विस किधर है? हाँ, हियर आई गो. तो डेटाबेस का इज डन. डेटाबेस में डेटा है. आई कैन सी द एक्टिविटी लॉग्स एज वेल कि यहाँ पे कुछ ऐड हुआ है क्या. डिलीट फायरवॉल लूट इतना. ओके, सो एक्टिविटी मतलब क्लाउड पे हुआ है वो वाला एक्टिविटी इन्होंने दिखाया. तो इंसर्ट एंड डिलीट वाला शायद ये नहीं दिखाएंगे. ठीक है. एंड वन मोर थिंग गाइज, database will not cost you anything if you are just creating it, but if you are inserting data, retrieving data, then it is going to charge you guys. log analytics मतलब क्या है देख लेते एक बार. वेलकम टू क्या पता क्या है. ठीक है, मेरे को नहीं पता. आई नेवर ट्राइड. ठीक है, as of now that's good. Okay, I believe what I will do here in my database itself. ठीक है, तो कुछ दिखा दिया तो अच्छा है, नहीं दिखा दिया तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते. नहीं, ठीक है. आई डोंट नो, आई नेवर वर्कड ऑन दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग. ठीक है. So this is not part of our ट्रेनिंग एज वेल. ठीक है, Azure के लॉग्स मुझे नहीं पता कैसे चेक करते हैं. आई जस्ट कनेक्ट एंड डिप्लॉय द एप्लीकेशन, यूज द एप्लीकेशन एंड गेट द वर्क डन. ठीक है. So Azure app service, we're done with the database. I have two. I connected with my earlier one, and having the web app as web app RG, and I need to go to my virtual machines or app services basically. It is in the same RG basically. If even if it is different RG, it would work, no problem at all. So app name is Azure Spring One. So I'm going in my Spring Boot. So Azure Spring One, Web App RG, same thing. I don't need to change anything by the way. I'm going to use the same app to deploy my Spring Boot का project. ठीक है, चलो. I don't need to do a lot of settings for that. So first thing first, I'm going to follow my notes. एक बार CLI login one time activity बाद में नहीं करना था. So I'm going to clean the package. I'm going to create the package first, and because in my deployment section I'm quickly going to show you. Okay, this is my project. So in my target, so there is nothing. No, there is nothing in my target. So I need to have a var or jar created, then only I can push it there. Okay, here is my source code, and I don't have anything in my target. So let's fire a command which we have copied from there, and I'm hitting enter. So it will download all the packages. It will take some time, but it will eventually build our project and it will create a var for us. Maven, Apache Maven error, could not find a local load main class or dot. ठीक है ना? So I just modified this project and I'm gonna go back. So I moved it out. So this was the original Spring वाला project which I copied from or we have taken from GitHub. So इसमें जाके उसको modify कर देते basically. It will help us eventually going forward. ठीक है. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create इसका एक copy so that I'll not miss out on anything. Azure Spring App. ठीक है. Azure CRUD step 1. ठीक है, I'm just making a copy of it so that I'll not miss on the data. So that is for the before the deployment. So secondly, I'm having this Spring Boot wala Azure wala sab kuch, so I'm not able to run the maven w wala command. So that is when I need to copy my old code which I have done in my Eclipse, and I'm quickly going to go back and here into this and here inside this, and I'm going to fire the command. And I'm going to put the source code किया तो भी हो जाएगा रे, बाकी नहीं करना चाहिए. ठीक है, it just a second ना. So I don't need to copy each and everything. So this is my new code. So here is my src and main में ही जो भी किया है वो किया है. ठीक है, src के अंदर this is my main, copying my main into my Spring Boot वाला project. That's it. Complete src and main के अंदर डालेंगे replace. So that's it. So my new project is ready. So I'm going back here. I'm going to open the command prompt and then I'm going to fire the command cmd and same command which I just copied a few minutes back. I'm going to fire again. What was the command? Maven w clean package. This should create the package for me. Yeah, it is taking time, so it means the commands are working fine. Okay, so this is the configuration or the folder which I am working currently. GS Spring Boot for Azure is something which we copied from internet or the GitHub few years back. And एक सेकंड ना, फॉर्म का कुछ चेंज हुआ? फॉर्म नहीं चेंज किया, शिट. ठीक है, ये नहीं होगा बिल्ड बिकॉज फॉर्म भी चेंज करना चाहिए था. So form is outside the folder. I have never looked at that. So just give me a second. So form मिस किया. Form is very important file. उसका settings ही नहीं गया वहाँ पे. ठीक है, I'm copying this form. आज मॉर्निंग में अपडेट किया है. And here I go inside this and I'm replacing it. Form is having dependencies for running the JPA dependency and PostgreSQL dependency. Okay, I'm firing the command again. Clean package. So this is going to download the new dependencies. It will take few minutes. DBPOC is correct one. It is downloading the dependencies and then it will create a changes detected, recompiling the module. Maven jar plugin 3.3. So it is trying to build the package first, and once that jar is built inside my folder called as src के अंदर जा रहा हूँ. Sorry, किसमें जाना था? Target में जाना था. It should it has created just now 9:37. So once that is created, the second command is to push it into the cloud. So this is the first command. So एक बार चल भी रहा है कि नहीं वो भी चेक करेंगे. The build is successful. I am having this file with me. So now second step is कि एक बार उसको run करके देख लेते local पे. So instead of this Spring Boot, because there is one way, like you can open in Eclipse and then you can fire use this, and that is how it will work. So second way of testing or running it from the command prompt is maven w. ऐसा करके आप run कर सकते हो. ठीक है, if you wanted to do so. We'll try, and once that is tested, because वो सारे web application की configuration के setting रहेंगे. You'll see once that is done, change the build configuration form for Azure. चेंज नहीं करना भाई पड़ेगा. ठीक है, अपन इनको सिर्फ एक बार रन करते हैं, then we'll take it forward. ठीक है, I'm just quickly running my code, pasting it over here. Spring Boot run. So earlier was just to build, second one is for run, and then same thing I'm going to do Maven Azure Web App deploy. So my Spring Boot application is getting started. So calling कुछ तो कर रहा है. JPA repository उसको मिल गया. Application starting. ठीक है, so once it is started, I should be able to see the same thing which I was able to see with Eclipse. Eclipse currently I have closed. ठीक है, सेम ही डेटा आ रहा है. So it means it's working. अगर उसने error वगैरह दिया रहता then there must be some problem. हाँ, stay students. ठीक है. I'll also check by adding to the postman. So let me just quickly localhost का ये है, and then I want to post API. I want to try something out. I'll add Supriya over here with ID number 3, and we'll see whether Supriya is getting added. Okay, this is happening in my local environment as of now. Not we have not moved to the cloud. Okay, Supriya, I'm just trying to add another student. ID number 52. अभी ID number 52 क्यों बना? Basically because we I must have fired lot of things. ठीक है, 52 बन गया. इसके पहले बहुत फायर किया उस पर्टिकुलर कोड के लिए. ठीक है, let me just refresh. So ID automatically, this is auto incremental वाला ID. So that is when it has become 52. I am not sure किधर से है 52, but नहीं आना चाहिए था. But ठीक है. Fine, that is fine. I'm having the entry of Postgres, and then I'm gonna also check in my Postgres कि 52 क्यों है, 1 चाहिए था, इसके बाद 52 क्यों है. हाँ, ऑटोमेटिकली 50 ऑटो इंक्रीमेंट किया गया. क्या किया कोड में? इक्लिप्स भी बन हुआ. ठीक है, इट शुड बी 1 2 3 4 5, एटलीस्ट 3 तो होना चाहिए था. 52 का है क्या? ठीक है, लेट इट बी. आईडी इज प्राइमरी की इंटीजर, उसके हिसाब से वो बना ले रहा है. मेरे को नहीं पता क्या हो गया अंदर में. ठीक है, so Spring will learn sometimes later. I'll tell you why it has it must have happened. There are multiple reasons to it. So for now, I'm able to see my data in my Postgres का database. I'm able to hit it from my local, and my app is working fine. I'm just closing it. So बाबा app चल रहा है. I tested. I have my war, and now it's time to deploy my jar into the cloud. That's it. The only final step left. So I'm just going to my notes again. Final step, I already modified these things. I don't need to do it again. Build configuration for the for inform already added earlier. I'm not going to do it. So last thing is to deploy app on Azure is doing this. ठीक है. So if I go on my Azure app as of now, ठीक है, Azure Spring था ना उसका, Azure Spring 1. हाँ, this is my app. So it is what I was before deployment I'm showing you. Then after deployment I'm again going to show you. ठीक है, hello from Akshay. Then here I'm going to do students. ठीक है, अक्षय and नितिन. So these are two names already there. So it is in my code base. कोड में ही वो है. अगर मैं ऐप को रिस्टार्ट करूंगा इस ऐप सर्विस को, then the data will be gone. ठीक है, वहां पे डेटा नहीं दिखेगा. Now since I'm going to deploy my new application and that is connected to my Postgres database, तो Postgres database में जो भी है वही यहाँ पे दिखेगा basically. It is not going to show me Akshay with ID 2. It is not going to show me Nitin with ID 4. It is going to show what it is going to show. Let me just come. It is going to show one Akshay, 52 Supriya. That's it. Okay, that is something it is going to show once I deploy the application. Here I go. I'm firing the command to deploy it. Just a second. Deployment के लिए command क्या था? I forgot. Deploy. इतना ही था. Maven Azure Web App deploy. ठीक है, इसके पहले क्या फायर किया था? Run के लिए किया. ठीक है. So I'm firing the command to deploy the code. I'm just making it big so that we can check out the logs. Pasting the command. Here I go. Maven W Azure Web App deploy. That's it. So all the configuration has been added over there. So dbpoc 1.0 is a jar I'm going to copy over there on my Azure App Service. So hold on for a few minutes. It will automatically take up the code and it will automatically add it over there. I believe so. So just we'll take a pause and we'll wait. It is asking me to authenticate this time. I guess my CLI का जो authentication किया था last week, so that has expired. So see what happened is it is trying to connect to my um, my terminal, which is Azure का CLI is trying to authenticate itself. ठीक है, तो ये first time one time ही करना पड़ता है. Authentication complete, you can close the browser. ठीक है, authentication is complete. देखो यहाँ पे success आया. Then acquired the new token, retry attempt to exhaust 0 attempts. सब्सक्रिप्शन इज फ्री टियर ट्रायल, देन फ्री ट्रायल का ही वापस क्या कर रहे हैं क्या पता। ठीक है, लेट्स सी। हाँ, तो क्रिएटिंग ऐप लर्निंग ये ऑलरेडी था मेरे पास, उसमें डाल रहे हैं ऐप सर्विस प्लान। ठीक है, क्या हुआ यहाँ पे, कुछ एरर है, फेल टू एग्जीक्यूट गोल, डिप्लॉय प्रोजेक्ट से कर, डिप्लॉय वेब एप्स रिसोर्स, अपडेटिंग क्रिएट अपडेट ऐप सर्विस 401 दिया, क्यों नहीं पता। कोड अनऑथराइज्ड मैसेज, दिस रीजन कोटा है 0 प्रीमियम इंस्टेंसेस फॉर योर सब्सक्रिप्शन, ट्राई सेलेक्टिंग डिफरेंट रीजन और एक्सक्यूज टारगेट नल। ये लास्ट टाइम भी आया था ना डेटाबेस क्रिएट करते टाइम। एक जस्ट सेकंड ना, उसमें ऑलरेडी है मेरे पास, तो क्यों ये कर रहा है, व्हाई इट इज नॉट टेकिंग माय एग्जिस्टिंग वन। ईस्ट यूएस, ठीक है, ये वाला ही यूज करना है, अजूर स्प्रिंग वन। अजूर स्प्रिंग वन ही था क्या, एक सेकंड रुको, कोड में जाके देखना पड़ेगा, या फिर मैंने चेंज किया उसको, आई एम नॉट श्योर। तो आई विल गेट टू नो ये फ्रॉम हियर इटसेल्फ, इट इज ट्राइंग टू क्रिएट, है ना। एक सेकंड रुकिए, learning Azure one is something it is trying to create, oh my god, shit, it is trying to create a separate application, तो second नहीं कर पाएगा वो, मुझे POM में settings में change करना पड़ेगा। तो I cannot create two app services, something we understood already। ठीक है, मतलब मेरे पास ये प्रीमियम वर्जन जो मैंने लिया है स्टोरेज स्पेस का, I don't have it, I don't have the another version। तो इसका मेरे को एक बार RGB देखना पड़ेगा, I changed it I guess, मुझे नहीं पता, मैंने change कर दिया शायद इसको, कोड में कुछ अलग है और यहाँ पे कुछ अलग है शायद, आई क्रिएटेड इट लेटर। लर्न वाला अलग था, आई रिमूव दैट थिंग। ठीक है, इसका आरजीबी चेक करने तो मुझे यार, मतलब विल नॉट बी एबल टू डू दैट अदरवाइज। so I'm going back into my code in the form of course because deployment fail हुआ है सिर्फ क्लाउड के लिए। ठीक है, तो वेब ऐप आरजी इज ओके क्या, मुझे नहीं पता। ठीक है, देखो वेब ऐप रिसोर्स ग्रुप वेब ऐप आरजी, दिस इज ओके। सेकंड कॉन्फ़िगरेशन दैट आई नीड टू चेंज, रुको, is app name. So learning Azure one is not the app I am having right now. तो ये नया बनाने की कोशिश कर रहा था, and that is how it is filled। ठीक है, I got to know from the code यार ऐसे ऐसे हुआ है। ठीक है, तो what is the name of this particular app is Azure Spring One। Same to same copy करना है यहाँ से। I'm going my code। So instead of learning Azure one, I'm going to put my app name which is Azure Spring One। ठीक है, उसका region correct, ठीक है, East US, ईस्ट यूएस करेक्ट है। तो दूसरा क्या था लास्ट वाला सेटिंग, प्राइसिंग टियर P1 V2, वही इंस्टेंस है क्या, P1 V2 करेक्ट है। हाँ, फ्री प्लान में इतना ही मिलता है। ठीक है, सो नाउ आई एम विथ माय करंट Azure स्प्रिंग का एप्लीकेशन ऐप सर्विस का है कि मेरे पास है, एंड देन आई एम गोइंग टू डिप्लॉय ऑन द सेम थिंग। ठीक है, तो वो देखो अभी नहीं जरूरत लगेगा, इट विल ऑटोमेटिकली डिप्लॉय because I'm using existing one with my free subscription, it is not allowing me to create a new one। So this time it will definitely deploy the application on cloud। So let's see if we could do that। Come on, it should be this time authentication। अरे वापस क्यों पूछा, ये है क्या, वापस नहीं पूछना चाहिए था। ठीक है, बेसिकली लेट इट आस्क। हाँ, एक बार ऑथेंटिकेट, ओके ओके, शायद मुझे CLI से ऑथेंटिकेट करना पड़ेगा अलग से। तो ये CLI से नहीं किया ना, तो इसीलिए वो पूछ रहा है। ठीक है, एनीवेज इफ यस क्लिक करने में क्या ही जाता है, तो कर देना, फिर नहीं तो यूजर नेम पासवर्ड डालना पड़ेगा आइदर ऑफ दिस। ठीक है, फ्री टियर में, फ्री ट्रायल सब्सक्रिप्शन में इट इज ट्राइंग टू क्रिएट समथिंग। So we have to wait for a while as again, and then we'll see the demonstration of how we can get the app on cloud। Now with this my whole information, हाँ, creating web app ऑलरेडी है तो वो वापस बनाएगा नहीं। अरे 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 अरे, see how talented I am। I changed in a code which is in my किधर वाला so I changed the POM in different place, number one। Even if I would have changed it here, again it would it must have not worked, because even though I changed the POM, I need to build the jar again, because jar deploy कर रहा हूँ, jar में तो पुराना ही setting है ना, तो jar deploy करना चाहिए। तो code is here, so I'm just I need to modify this। तो वहाँ यहाँ पे, तो this is something I supposed to change, मैंने वो Eclipse में change। ठीक है, anyways होता है। ठीक है, so here I am supposed to change जहाँ पे learning Azure 1 ही है, और वही उसने वापस डिप्लॉय करना शुरू किया। That is when I realized अरे I made a mistake। Here I go again, copying the app name, Azure Spring App, going in my code, trying to update the things, rest is same, saving the file, going back. Now this time I cannot directly fire the commands. I first need to build, then I need to upload. ठीक है, पैकेज करना पड़ेगा पहले, क्लीन पैकेज में कर रहा हूँ, उस पैकेज में ये वाला नाम जाएगा Azure Spring 1. ठीक है, इन दैट केस इट विल नॉट क्रिएट न्यू, इट विल कनेक्ट ओनली टू दिस वन. देखो ये कंपाइल कर रहा है वापस मेरे लिए, सिर्फ एक चेंज के लिए मुझे वापस इतना जार बिल्ड करना पड़ा. Generally in production or when you work in a company, they have CI/CD model, and then they connect to the once you commit the code, once you modify your things and you add it into Git or SVN, the code will automatically deploy on cloud. So that automation is there, but I cannot show you, in a training environment or display form. Okay, so my app is built. Let me just quickly see if it is with my current date and time. I'm going target. देखो ये 949 का है, 950 हो गया. So this is latest version. ठीक है, now I can go and deploy. Okay. Spring Boot run नहीं, Spring Boot package भी नहीं, Spring Boot deploy चाहिए. Now this time it should definitely go and push it on my cloud. We will wait for a while and then we'll take it forward. Web app Maven plugin 2.5.0. Hold on for a second. So again authentication. अरे बाप रे. I'm getting authentication complete. ठीक है. Updating the app. It is trying to deploy in that particular thing. So copying might take some time. Successfully deployed the artifact into this and build success we are able to see. So now it means we have successfully deployed our current version, which has JPA, which has the database on cloud, and that should automatically access my application. ठीक है. So I'm just closing the authorized वाला things. IP वाला नहीं चाहिए. मेरा ऐप ये है, रनिंग है, इसमें कुछ लॉग्स, इसमें लॉग देख सकते हो अगर आपने लॉग्स डाले होंगे. So basically I know how to see the इसका वाला लॉग्स कहाँ पे आता है, वो भी यहाँ पे नहीं आता एक्चुअली. But you can see what is happening in the background. Okay, so code में मैंने logs नहीं print किए तो यहाँ पे directly नहीं दिखेंगे, but fine. So I'm going into my application. So this is my Azure App Students. Earlier it was showing two things. I'm just refreshing this time, and it should show me the database or the data from the database. Just hold on for a second. We'll see. It should show me the latest details. JPA वगैरह बन चुका होगा. हाँ. So it is showing me Akshay, that is ID 1. 52 is Supriya's ID. I don't know how it is built, but it has taken time to build this thing. Now, if I want to add the data, I need to add the data into this particular URL. ठीक है. जो भी अभी मैं Postman से push करूँगा, the next person. So Azure App API add student जब मैं करूँगा तो I need to do it learning.azure नहीं, ठीक है. So I need to do it over here. Azure Spring 1 यहाँ पे करना पड़ेगा मुझे. Azure Spring 1 store student ऐसे करके है उसका. And then I'm going to put the next ID नहीं डाला तो भी चलेगा शायद से, ये automatically ले रहा है. ठीक है. I'm going to take the next person in the meet. It's Shubham. Let's see whether we have Shubham enter in my system. ठीक है. ID डाला नहीं डाला तो ऑटोमेटिकली ले रहा है, इसलिए नहीं निकाल रहा मैं उसको. I'm just pushing it, and we have C102. I'm not sure how it is auto incrementing 50 32 के बाद 102 हुआ. ठीक है, ऑटो जनरेटेड नहीं लिखा, ये रैंडम ले रहा है बेसिकली. दैट इज व्हाट आई अंडरस्टूड. ठीक है, आईडी इज टेकिंग ऑटोमेटिकली. देयर इज वे ऑफ डूइंग इट. आई फॉरगॉट. ऑटो इंक्रीमेंट करना चाहिए तो उसको 1 से, और उसका इंडेक्स देना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, दैट्स फाइन फॉर मी. आईडी का अभी कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. आई कैन सी द शुभम्स एंट्री इज देयर इन माय. I should see basically. I have not seen yet. I'm going to the Postgres. Again, the Postgres is on cloud Postgres. I'm just checking कि उसमें डेटा आया क्या. Yeah, I can see the second person over here. 50 से आगे जा रहा है क्या. ठीक है, this is one. And then I can also go and check on my browser. This is get API call basically. I can see 3 records. The same get API call is this. So same API call is this. So basically it's a get request that I'm trying to hit. Hmm? And that's it. I can see Akshay, Supriya, Shubham. The ID is getting auto incremented. We can also delete if I wanted to. You know it already. So I can quickly go and student slash 102, and this person or this entry, which is what here, entry number 3, and I can see it over here as well. So which will get deleted if I hit the delete icon. I can also update. I'm going to show you to and deleted successfully. I can go and check the database. The name is different this time, so this is removed. And so this is about delete API. I can also go and have the put call, which is not here. I'm going to add one new collection. Add request. So this is going to be put request. This is going to be update student student student. अरे spelling का क्या हो रहा है? हाँ? And I'm going to use the same API. But here after student I'm going to give the ID 52 को अपन करेंगे change, या फिर 1 को करते हैं /1, and I need to pass the corresponding data. ठीक है, बॉडी में मुझे वो डेटा पास करना पड़ेगा. Here I'm going raw, going with JSON, and जो भी डेटा मैंने पोस्ट के लिए लिया था उसी टाइप का JSON ऑब्जेक्ट मुझे पास करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, so I'm going to रिक्वेस्ट. ओके, रिक्वेस्ट चेंज नहीं किया इसका, सेव नहीं किया इसका. ठीक है, सेव कर रहा हूँ. So here I go. I need to push the name. Akshay के जगह पे अपन will put something else. ठीक है, will put Trupti over there. Yes, so I'm going to put the name. So for the person whose ID is 1, so I'm going to update the name as Trupti. That's it. Simple. ID cannot be updated because it is integer. And if I'm having only one field, but if you have many, you can go and do that easily. Okay. So let me just quickly show you before updating the details. So here there are only 2 entries with ID 1 Akshay, ID 52 Supriya. Okay. Chalo, now let's see for ID 1 if I could easily. Now I have written the code in Java, so which I cannot explain you right now. So normal CRUD operation I have shown you in multiple trainings, like whoever is learning. So we have done this CRUD operation many times. Okay, what happens internally is something, it checks the ID, get the record, and update the value which I'm passing. Okay, I'm sending the data, and a student updated successfully shown over here. If I go and check my get request, I could see there should be only 2 records. One is Trupti and one is Supriya, with the same ID. ID should not be changed. Yeah, but updated record came later. Next, first this record is there, sorted by the last updated date, because Postgres is maintaining that way. Okay, these are 2 records. So the way we have seen over there, this is cloud database. We are checking the entries, and we can see the number 1 is Trupti and number 2 is Supriya. Basically, that is how it is updated. Okay. So all the CRUD operation, creating the data, getting the data, updating the data, and deleting the data is something which we have seen in cloud. Now everything is running on cloud. If you have this URL, you can try out by yourself. Just play with this, and then it will eventually you can add data, modify, and update. Of course, this is public URL. Anybody can access. Anybody can play with it, right? So, but of course, I have the control. I can decide what to keep in a database, so and I can go and update the things. Yes, I hope you must have understood the things. So this is very plain simple stuff that we have implemented in our last 3 sessions, basically consecutive session. App service, database, and deploying that Java ka Spring Boot ka code in the cloud, and connect in the cloud in the app service, and then having it connected to the cloud database, which eventually is gonna be there. Because see what happens if I'm going to make the settings for my local database. So once the data is on cloud or the code is on cloud, it will not be able to connect to my local database, which is over here. ठीक है, किधर है? आ जाओ यार. हाँ. So which is my local database is this Postgres का local database. यहाँ पे वो connect नहीं कर पाएगा, right? So it is my local machine running over here. So that is when you deploy our app on cloud. So cloud database is very essential. Like platform as service we are using Postgres as a service for implementing this particular application. Okay, I hope you must have learned really awesome things over here in today's session as well. So I want you guys to go ahead and practice, implement it, and then if you face any challenges, let me know. Okay. So all the recordings are available on YouTube. You can put the comments over there if you have any trouble. Okay, I'll be happy to help you out with this. So tomorrow we are going to start a new service. So this is, we are ending the app service over here. We are ending the databases. We are going to look at something new, and then next week probably we'll be focusing on exam questions, then what sort of scenario based question that they will give you in your AZ 900 exam, and that is something I'll make sure that you are already aware about. And then I'll also share some important questions that you can prepare before actually appearing for the exam. And then I want you guys to clear out that and have the AZ 900 certification. A very simple thing that you can achieve. And with this training that we are going, you can also clear AZ 104 as well. Not a difficult task. We are almost covering most important essential topics from the AZ 104 as well. The whole goal of the training is to make you ready for working on Azure cloud. See, yes, with this we are done. Thank you so much for joining in. See you tomorrow at 9 o'clock, same time. We'll continue learning few more interesting things. Thank you so much.